Congratulations! Today you're joining us here at Seattle Coffee Gear, and we're going to be doing a coffee tasting. What coffee is it?
It is our roast of the month, Camber's Guatemala Santa Isabel. This came in earlier, a little like kind of near the end of last month.
Yeah.
And we really liked it. We haven't had a chance to feature Camber before, so we figured it would be the perfect choice for roast of the month.
Yeah, it's today we have a special brew method to pair along with that. This is a siphon setup or a vacuum pot. This is actually one of the oldest ways to make coffee and prepare coffee. They used it for tea originally, and then, before the siphon, they would just mix the coffee grounds and water together, kind of like they do for Turkish coffee. And this was the first filtered method that became available. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
And then there's options with paper filters, things like that. Today we're using the Peebo from Bodum.
Which is a cute name. Mm-hmm. A Peebo. This reminds me of Piglet.
So basically what you do, I have a hot plate here. I have it set to pretty much boiling. And then there's a little chain down there at the bottom, and it breaks the tension of the water, so you start to see these bubbles. And then once it has reached the top, I seal it off and it reaches the top. It is obviously boiling right now. Should be around 200 degrees or so.
She's done this hundreds of times.
Literally hundreds, we're told.
Yes, I have. I used to work in a cafe where we had 6 of them, and I would make 6 siphons back to back for 2 hours at a time. So I'm very familiar with it. Okay, so it's right around 203 right now, which works for me. So I have 1,000 grams of water that I've used since this is a pretty big pot, and we're doing 35 grams of coffee here.
Very carefully poured.
That was
Chamber.
perfect.
It's a square lid for a round
not easy.
hopper.
Not easy to
Yeah,
pour
we were originally going to use a different hopper. Anyway,
Weighs nothing. Also.
and you're going to grind it in a finer grind, kind of similar to what you would do for a pour over or something like that. All right, so we've got a pretty fine grind going here. Would you like to smell it? I'm going back into my
Oh my
old cafe
god, that
habits.
smells like robust.
Robust?
Yeah, that's a good
Robust
word
as
for it.
Right?
My tasting notes have been off lately, so it just smells like chocolatey to me.
It smells like just okay. I'm freaking out right now, but like just the fragrance of that like filled up my mouth, like down in my throat. It was beautiful.
Made your mouth
Yeah,
water?
it's a chocolatey one. That's part of why I liked it anyway.
Yeah.
Chocolatey and cherry, but it's got a little kind of extra fruitiness to it.
Nice. Right around 200. Okay,
Very full.
so I'm going to borrow the timer from this scale here. So it's typically you'd want to use a bamboo stirrer. We are out of those, so we're going with the spoon. This isn't ideal, but we're making do.
What's the benefit of using a bamboo stirrer over?
It has something to do with the way that the surface area and like the way that you fold down the coffee. I'll kind of explain it a little bit as I go. So as soon as I add in the coffee, start my timer here. And then this is the bloom. So what I'm going to do is just kind of gently tuck it beneath the water here. See how I'm kind of getting some like scoop back on a flat, on that bamboo, it's flat. So I don't have as much like kickback whenever I'm pushing this down. It just kind of folds a little bit more gently.
Makes sense.
So I'm just kind of doing what I can here. This is a lot more agitation than I typically like to give it. Siphons, they're brewing really hot, right? So the less agitation you can contribute, the better flavor it's going to be. And then so at 45 seconds, total brew time is 1.5 minutes, so it's really quick. At 45 seconds, I'm going to start to kind of agitate it a little bit more and give it the one kind of go round that it needs. So I like to do 4 general and then like 4 big stirs. And then I'm going to go ahead and let it sit for obviously the remaining 45 seconds. And so what we're seeing happen here, at first you might have seen the little layer where it was all floating on top. That was the bloom. We're letting the flavors open up. And then when I incorporate it, now we're actually beginning the brewing or the real brewing process. So it's at that super high heated water. It's going to be pressurized at the end, actually. What you'll see is I'm going to remove it from the heat. Can I borrow that rag from you, Pat? Mm-hmm. I'm going to remove it from the heat, and our timer stopped.
That's bad.
Whoops. That's all
I've
right.
been counting it in my head because I noticed that, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. So will you give me a signal whenever you are ready? So what we're going to do when we remove it from the heat is actually what's causing this pressure in the bottom, which is causing the coffee to maintain.
Ooh, that's terrifying.
Panic.
Yeah. The coffee to maintain that pressure up top. And then what you'll see, as soon as that pressure, as soon as the temperature drops, so does your coffee. So while it's dropping, you're going to give it one more stir.
Oh my god. Okay, sorry.
Count to 4 is what I do. And then basically what you're doing now, you're seeing this is kind of going in a vortex. It should be all getting pulled towards the middle. It's going to get, if I did this properly, I haven't done it in a while, so fingers crossed. Should be a nice little dome kind of left over, showing you that it's all getting pulled towards the center.
It's spiraling really well, which kind of looks like it'll create a dome shape.
Yeah. We'll see. The true test is in the brew bed. Sort of.
A little lopsided, but...
A little lopsided, which means I probably stirred a little heavily. It could be because I'm using a spoon. Take what we can get. Once those bigger bubbles pop up, I'm going to reach over here. Please beware.
Is it this?
Yes.
Should I put it here?
That works fine.
Okay.
So, see, this is actually the filter itself. So, whenever you go to clean it, you actually just, it's really hot right now, so I'm not going to do it, but you just pop this out straight into the trash, and then give it a rinse. So now that is ready. That is good to go there. This is one of the hottest ways to drink coffee, too, because it is constantly at that really high temperature. But the result is actually a nice clean cup. It's going to bring out those really light flavors. So we should get some more of the delicate notes in the coffee. Just warning you, super hot. You might want to give it a few seconds. You can also kind of see the color is pretty light.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, it's like sparkling.
This is obviously a very unique way to brew coffee. I wouldn't recommend it for every day, but when you have guests,
Yeah.
People used to ask me if I drank my coffee like this all the time because it tastes really good. Can you imagine doing this when you first wake up in the morning? No.
No.
Cheers. Super hot. Please be careful. It is going to be...
Okay, I'm going to wait. Should I wait on it?
Let's see
Okay.
if I can drink it. Anyway.
Ooh, that is hot. That is hot.
Did you slurp it?
I did slurp it.
Did it work?
Yes.
Okay.
It's pretty light, of course.
It's very good, though.
So hot. Oh my gosh. Me?
Yep. I taste green
So
beans.
the notes are on the back.
Yeah. So before, what do you guys,
Oh,
can you
sure.
taste
I'm
anything?
not going to lie, I taste green beans, and I think that's because I burned my tongue.
Green beans?
I would not say green beans.
No.
No, it's got that kind of... and I know the notes already, but it's kind of...
okay.
It's almost like it's sort of got a body that's like toffee-ish in a way, kind of from that...
It does.
Marzipan
Yeah.
note that we have on there.
Yeah.
That's how they interpreted it, which I think is what I would really say, but I didn't want to cheat.
No, totally.
And then the other notes that it features are red apple and cherry, and those are really subtle in this brew method. If you were to brew it, I've had it drip. I haven't done it in a press, but a drip brew, typical drip brew, it's a little more sweet. It has more of that kind of red apple and cherry. But I think red apple is an interesting note because it is a very juicy, kind of airy sweetness, not just really rich. It has a lot of coffee flavors, like chocolate in it too.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it does kind of have a little bit more of a
Vegetable.
like maybe just like savory even.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, and then like
Savory, but still kind of creamy.
yeah. It is it and I think the part you're talking about is some of the lightness that's coming from the brew method itself.
Yeah.
Because, this I feel like maybe I could have done either maybe a little bit finer grind or maybe even a little
Sure.
bit more coffee or something like that, and then it would have brought out maybe some more of the body to it.
It's
you
a
know?
complex enough brew method that it's the kind of thing you would want to try a couple of
Yeah.
times so you really get a
Absolutely.
recipe for the roast, kind of like if you're
Yeah.
pulling an espresso shot.
And it's interesting because like your palate is gonna bring out different things, different times that you drink it, depending on who you are. I'm not gonna lie again. I totally just tasted Chinese food. I don't know why. Like,
I don't
this
know why
reminded
either.
me of Chinese food.
Was that your dinner last night?
No, it wasn't.
Maybe is it like a green tea type thing? Is that because this is very tea-like way of drinking coffee? So I'm wondering if that's kind of what you're experiencing right now. Is like the same kind of the same thing I experience when I drink green tea and like some of the lighter more.
Definitely.
Okay, yeah. Well,
Palate-wise.
I'll tell you right now. Now it's becoming floral. It is changing in my mouth.
It's
Things-
the
you go.
temperature too. You also have to think it was like really, really hot,
Yeah,
and then
and now
as
it's
it
cooling
cools,
down.
right,
Right.
that changes it a lot. And so typically, whenever I prepare this for people, I tell them to let it sit
it's
for
a
a few
roller
seconds.
coaster. This coffee.
Yeah. And that's with any coffee too, though. Temperature has a huge part to play when it comes to
Expression.
yeah, the expression of the notes. Totally. And so, what people taste when they're doing it, different brew methods, you're also experiencing different temperatures, different complexities of the coffee. And so that's why it's so fun to try it in multiple methods, I will say this one in particular, I think you're right. I think my favorite way I've had it was a pour over.
Yep,
I've been drinking this
definitely.
coffee actually this past week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went to
Oh.
the Bellevue, not the Bellevue, the Alderwood Mall, and Kathy there recommended it because
Oh, wow.
I had it before when I was a barista, so 2 years ago their crop. So I had it. It was really cool to see the way it's changed.
Well, and this producer is an interesting example of that
Yeah.
because the region that it was produced in was not known as a particularly high quality growing region for a long time. And
Right.
Don Luis, the owner of the farm, the planter at the farm who produces this, has brought the quality level up
Yeah.
immensely over the, I can't remember exactly when it was purchased.
1965.
Yeah, but it's been a steady increase in quality as that family has worked that land.
Yeah. Kind of
which is
embrace
Just
that.
from their understanding of what it needs.
Yep, it's really interesting to see year over year. They've won a Cup of Excellence awards in Guatemala since then because it's just continues to get better and better.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really interesting too. When I was reading up on them, they do they have like a unique way of drying their coffee beans, so it kind of results in some interesting flavors. Like they have it's really humid there, right? And so they have to do certain things to keep their coffee dry, so that it will take off all the parchment and all the outsides. So it's really interesting. I think that it comes off in a lighter cup of coffee. It's really got like some more citrus notes, maybe a little bit more acidity to it typically.
Sure.
Definitely settles on your tongue for like a long time. You can feel the texture of it.
Cool.
The coffee.
Yeah, I'm still. I don't know how you guys are drinking it. It's so hot. I had.
Well, Clementine burned her tongue immediately.
I did, so that helps. Put a
One,
little
you can't trust
calluses
anything
on
she
it.
said about the flavor of it. And two, that's why it's so gone so fast.
Actually, now I just took the sip and it's a little bit more on the toffee note
I believe
side,
it.
like what you were talking about.
Yeah,
like now
yeah.
that I'm getting into like the deeper part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. There you have it.
Yeah,
Siphon,
tasty coffee.
Camber, Roast of the Month, Guatemala, Santa Isabel. Check it out on our online shop. Check it out in the retail stores. They definitely have it there for you to try it.
And if you're in Guatemala, check out their farm.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That
Sure
would
they would
actually
love
be
that.
really awesome.
Yeah, that would be super, super cool. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will see you next time.